Rich, Brandon was telling us that he might kick tomorrow, might wait until Sunday pregame. If it isn't not until Sunday pregame, can you do anything to test the leg until then? And do you have to call up a kicker just in case if that happens?
You know, I think it just kind of happened, right? And so I think we're going to lean on him. To his point, he's been through this before. We'll kind of see how he feels tomorrow as to what he's going to do in tomorrow's practice, whether he gets some kicks in or not, and just kind of lean on how he feels, how the rehab part goes through the next few days, and plan on him playing on Sunday as of right now because he's been through this before and he feels like he can go. So he's a guy that's got a lot of experience, and to his point, he's been through this once before. So we'll lean in that direction until something changes.
You have two up for Sunday. Is that a possibility just for insurance?
Say that again, please.
You have two kickers up on Sunday.
Right now, that hasn't been part of the conversation, but it could be before we get to Sunday.
Did you work any guys out, or even if you did, are you confident in what Mark has shown you the last couple weeks?
Well, I think Mark's a work in progress, and I think as far as working guys out, you'd have to talk to Brian, and we'll see how the next few days go, but that kind of falls in his wheelhouse a little bit.
Rich, Daniel has kicked some, though, before, right?
He has. He's kicked off before, and he's kicked field goals. So, usually in game, I think that happened in the league this past week a little bit. In game, that would be that's the emergency situation, but they call it emergency for a reason, But and it's so different to the groin area that we don't really like him to do it a lot as the weeks go on. Usually, each quarter of the season, he's going to get some kickoffs and some field goals in.
So if he's the emergency kicker, who's your emergency holder, and do those guys work together much at all ever?
We have those in place, and they work throughout the week, but for sure on Friday. They get reps together on Friday. But as to who they are, hopefully we don't ever have to find out.
What is the coaching point for Savion on those dirty kickoffs that bounce in the landing zone and he took a couple touchbacks on?
Yeah, again, not only is it new to the league, but it's certainly new to him, nothing he's ever seen before. So we've worked really hard on it, this past week, and how to handle those dirty kicks, and hopefully you get a Sunday bounce, and how to square your nose up and your belly button up on the ball, and the decision to make the play. So the thing I liked is that he was pretty clear and decisive in the decision that he made. I'd certainly like to have him catch it on the bounce and come out of there, which the future hopefully, will give us. But that's how we played it in that particular game, and we didn't end up with a penalty anywhere, and we didn't end up back inside the 20. So there was a positive there to some degree.
If the kicks are lower like that, can he still be expected to run up and catch it?
Well, I think you're trying to judge the ball, and that's become the hard part. It's a little bit of a line drive, and if it skips in the wrong place, and now, I learned a long time ago, if you want the ball to bounce back to you, you go to the gym. So I think playing those kicks and getting those sort of kicks, in practice has become a little problematic. We've started to work it off the jugs, and Mark's done a good job for us in practice. So it's just going to be a lot of repetitions to make the right decision at the right time.
You feel like you got your protection issues squared away?
We'd like to think so. We've put a lot of work into it, and in a football 101 class, this is kind of what you start off with. You're going to teach players what you want and how you want it done. Then you're going to train them to do it in the way in which you taught it to them, and then you have to trust them to go do it. So regardless of the fundamental, regardless of the technique or the mechanics of each individual play, there's a point where, the execution has got to come to fruition. So we're in position to work personnel over and over again in different spots to hopefully get that corrected.
Golden can obviously make plays with the ball in his hand. Do you have to tell him, don't get yourself killed out there? And is there an extent to which you want him to be aggressive?
Both, right? Yeah, both. And I think, again, it's new for him, right? He's back there, and we've always talked about, you guys have always asked me about punt returner. And my first comment always is, it's the decision-making process. When to and when not to, when's it a fair catch? Where am I on the field? So it's a new deal for him every day. It's a new deal for him today in practice. It's going to be a new deal for him again in the game. But I think we had a good conversation in the bye week about, he wants to do it. He's enjoying being back there. He knows it's work. He's really worked hard at it. We meet in the morning, kind of on the punter and how to read him and how to take the ball off the foot. And thought he had a really good day today and had a really good day yesterday. So we're excited about the future of both him and Savion and the direction they're going in the return game. It's going to always be a little bit of a work in progress if you've never done it.
Is there any thought, Rich, to going back to Keyshawn? He's so good in some of those situations. Any thought to going back to him?
Keyshawn works at it again every day in practice, so he's always a part of the conversation. He's always a part of the game plan, and he gets his reps in practice as if he's going to go. So just see what the situation comes in the game.
Wasn't thinking of going to Rome there down the stretch against Dallas.
Well, Rome's really good at it. He did it actually a little bit in college. He's been practicing for it the whole time he's been here, and I thought he would really make good decisions for us in the red zone, and he did. So that was kind of the reason where the ball was, where I thought their punter could put the ball into the red zone. I wanted to have a guy back there that's kind of done a good job in the red zone making good decisions, and I thought he did a good job with it. He enjoys it as well. So.
Do you generally get your choice of who you want to put out there, or is there a list of guys who are not available to you?
You're talking about in the return game?
The whole, just all special teams.
No, I don't think it's who's not available. I think it's about, who's playing a lot of plays on offense or playing a lot of plays on defense. And if you're going to add 28 plays or 33 plays to their 72 plays on offense or 68 plays on defense, if you're going to add that to their plate, it's got to be a special physically conditioned guy. And so there's never been really you can't use this guy or don't touch that guy. It's always a conversation of, who can we use that we dress on game day to help us win?
Rich, when we asked you in May about if you considered retirement, you said that you felt like you failed Matt a few times over the years. With what you've had to deal with inexperienced returners and the issues with the blocked kicks, are you frustrated? Do you feel that way again with the way special teams have gone at times through 4 games, or where are you kind of at on that?
Well, I don't ever think we talk about retirement in that vein. You might have thought that, but retirement has never been a part of my conversation, my vernacular. No, you asked me, you said, why'd you come back? That's what you said. So I never thought about, not coming back or thought about going anywhere else to that part. But my comment about failed him was, it hasn't been a total failure, you know what I mean, the 3 years that we've had. It'd be easy to come in here and cite some of the things that we've done really well. I just don't live in that world, I think the players do a better job of, or I do a better job with the players. Hey, here's what we've done well. Here's what we have to keep building on. But really, it's kind of incumbent on me or incumbent on us to be critical of the other parts that we need to get better at. So, it's not really all gloom and doom. Nothing's going to happen to kill my spirit or attitude. I know we have some issues that we have to correct. But in a whole, we've covered pretty good now, I think, on kickoff. I think our punter's playing really well. We had a dry start of the 5, a dry start of the 11 in the last game. And so I think we have a lot of things to build on. We've had some pieces go down in crazy situations. We lost a guy in Field Goal Pro on Wednesday, and we had to replace him by Sunday. So I just like to think we're still going to always be a work in progress. I've always told you guys, special teams is one play. And that one play magnified over, a period of time, it's a big play in the game. We don't get those 72 or 68 plays. We're getting anywhere from 23 to 33 plays right now in the game. And if you have one big gaffe or two, that affect the game. And it just gets magnified. So I don't know if I answered your question, but, my failure part is about, I just would like to think when I don't want to let anybody down. I don't want to let players down. I don't want to let the head coach down. I don't want to let the team down, those sort of things. And I think, our players certainly feel the same way. So that's how I approach every day. I think we fight and compete every day to get better.
Well, the reason I was talking to Zane about it, and Zane's point was, hey, we have 8 out of our 10 plays are good, but if we have 2 that are bad, you guys all know about it. So, and I understand that, and that's your point too. I'm just saying, we don't ask about, oh, hey, your coverage units are great when you get 2 kicks blocked, right?
Sure.
So that's just part, you've done this for long enough to know that that's kind of how the game
Sure.
goes, right?
Sure. Again, I've learned to be, and I think we're trying to work with our players. I'm certainly self-confident enough to be self-critical. I can promise you that. There's no question that you could ask that's going to be like, I'm going to want to fight somebody or something like that. You know what I mean? Trust me, I've been through worse. So, and I've been through a lot better, and I expect, hopefully not to go through anything worse, but I expect the better to come.
Rich,
Yeah.
how do you teach decision-making to a young punt returner at this level? Does it start with even before the kick, where am I in the field, and then judging by trajectory of the ball? I mean, are there two things you can do to help the kid make that right decision?
Sure, and I think it's in practice. They're getting multiple punts. Today was a 13-play script. So he got 7 of the 13 today, and then yesterday was an 11-play script, and I think he got 4 of the 11 yesterday. So we're trying to give him different kicks all the time. We're putting him in different parts of the field all the time. That's how I talked about Rome being in the red zone. So it just comes from repetition of doing it over and over again. And Savion gets a bunch of pre-practice drive kicks on the ground. So trying to do a better job. We've gotten some on the turf, and we've gotten some outside on the grass. So it just becomes no different than working on catching the ball low, catching the ball high, off the jugs. And so they're getting constant repetition at the catches, trying to get their nose, their chin, their belly button squared up on the ball, the best they can. So again, they're two guys that really want to do it. I think they can excel at it. And I think that's the biggest part is if something you want to do and you're willing to put the work in, you're going to get better at it with the talent that they have.